So here I have a large size wobble board, and in earlier videos you saw that I used a smaller one that was a piece of fitness equipment. This one is homemade. It's just a lot larger, and I'm just going to start off by rewarding Loot for getting on it, making any interactions with it, moving on it, and then I'm going to release him when he goes back on, marking and rewarding him. I'll release him off, and we'll go back and forth doing that so we can get comfortable on it. So I use wobble boards for just desensitizing dogs, and I also use it for confidence building, as well as it's really great for getting used to paddle boarding. So I'm now standing on this one, and I'm putting Loot in positions that he might typically be in on a paddle board. So I'm putting him into the middle position, so I call that peak, and I'm gonna just kind of sway the wobble board a little bit and just reward him for staying in that middle position so that it will mimic if we were paddle boarding. Down.
Break. Peek. Down. Break. Good work, buddy.
So now I've put my paddle board on top of the wobble board, and I will, same as with the wobble board, I will mark and reward Loot for any interactions to the paddle board being on it. I'll release him off and have him come back on and just continue to mark and reward his interactions with the paddle board. Then I will get on and stand in the position that I would be in, and I would ask for the same behaviors as with on just the wobble board, having him go into the middle position and reward him for that. I might reward some sit and some downs, and I will again rock the paddle board a bit so that we get that unstable movement, and just continue to reward him for good behavior. Here I'm using the paddle to mimic paddling and rewarding Loot for the motion of the paddle. Now, something that I'm thinking about as I'm watching this is I should have done this while on just the wobble board, so that if he did have any association that might have been negative to the paddle, he wouldn't also have associated that to the paddle board. And it's not really that big of a deal because he was very excited to go onto the paddle board. He didn't have any issues with that. But that's just something to keep in mind if you do have a dog that's a little bit more nervous or can be a little unsure with some new things or things that are moving, like how a paddle will. So then I would just suggest using a paddle or something that mimics a paddle. So your dog wouldn't even have a bad experience to the paddle, and using that on the wobble board versus on the stand-up paddle board for the first time.
Good work, my dude.